Alright, welcome everyone to the Union City Municipal Authority Board of Trustees meeting, January 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Town Hall at 101 North Elm Avenue, Union City, Oklahoma, 73090. Mr. Fisher, would you be kind enough to do the invocation? Sure.
Lord, thank you so much for this day, and thank you for blessing us. And Lord, we're just thankful for those gathered here, and we just ask that the decisions that need to be made tonight for the town are the best decisions. We thank you. We love you. Amen.
Amen. Let's go with Brian.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bob McGregor.
Present.
Ryan Dawson.
Here.
Keith Dennis.
Here.
Chad Fisher.
Here.
James Smith.
Here.
Call to order at 6:01.
Alright, consent agenda items, all matters listed under consent are considered by the Town of Union City Board of Trustees to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any Board of Trustees member may, however, remove an item from consent agenda by request. Do I have a motion on 5A, B, C, and D? I'll make a motion to approve A through D. Have a motion, do I have a second? Chad. Motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Correspondence from citizens, no action. Number 7, financial reports. The regular monthly financial reports for all firms are provided to the Board of Trustees for their review and information by Union City Treasurer Michelle Burns. At the close of business, December 30th, 2025, bank balances are as follows. Union City Municipal Authority at $798,196.74. Union City Municipal Deposit Funds at $58,493.12. Number 8, Department of Union City Water and Sewer. The following correspondence is provided to the Board of Trustees for review and possible action and informational purposes by Water Superintendent David Jones.
Should be a report attached. If you have any questions? Pretty normal, other than we have a little problem up on top of the two big lagoons where they can discharge them. One of the pipes is kind of separating. I got a camera crew to come in and we figured it out.
Is this the ones they just did?
No, it's been there since 1980 something. The two big ones on top.
Okay.
You know, on the ends where they got gates, you can control the height. Well, they run together, then they turn and go down to the last one. It's separated there, but we've been needing to add a gate there, or a valve anyway. So a perfect time to fix it and put the valve in. Okay. Problem is, it's on the side of that hill, and so it would take some shoring and different things. So I've got them supposed to be, and unfortunately, it's going to be kind of a dig and cost plus material type deal because there's really no way to bid it. But I got a couple people going to look at it. Give me a rough estimate. So awesome. Should know something by next meeting, hopefully. But not a huge deal on that. The discharge permit, as you can see, expires again in June. We've got it filled out and ready. Has to be posted in the local newspaper in the county. So to avoid any confusion, we put it in El Reno one because the other one says Miko Union City on the trade that we messed that up.
Right.
That'll be done this week? And as soon as they have to send us the proof, but it's a pencil proof, and then we can send that with the
Proof of grant.
Certified. Couldn't think of things. There you go. And then once we get that, we'll turn in the permit. $600 and some odd. Everything else, water bills were back to normal this month, hopefully. Awesome. Should all got yours. Met with Scott Bond and one sludge removal for down there that we've already discussed and actually even budgeted. And number 2 was just to get an idea on what we talked about earlier with the pipe, with the overall park drive, with how that should go about. So he agrees with us and y'all that we let whoever buys and develops it usually does that. If we feel the need, he'll turn everything in. Scott will then go over their plans and put his blessing or not from us. it needs to be upsized, or whatever the case may be. Normal situation, he said, let's just say, for instance, that their engineer says it needs a 6 inch, and that is sufficient. But we want bigger, because we want, usually he said, what happens in town, the space is different. So, it's not near as much as normal, so. Anyway, that's things we roll with him, so. All right.
All right, number 9, Department of Union City Water Clerk.
I'm sorry, what?
There's a grant.
What's it?
Never mind. Okay, you have my report. Sorry.
The one? That's on the
Thank
tree
you.
alley.
I think it's coming up, the MDRF grant.
Yes.
It's-
What were you saying?
Y'all were looking for when we're gonna talk about a grant?
Yeah, it's on
Yes.
the other one.
Oh.
It's on the other one.
So water bills,
Is there,
last month I had a couple of people ask me about water bills. About the changeover and the old one had a different utility group and the new one has a new website, new .com number or something like that.
yes.
So on our previous water bills, did they, besides Facebook or us, did we send that out into a letter
It
knowing
was
that?
on the water.
It was on the water bill,
probably
wasn't
on-
Was it on the water bill?
Yes,
I don't
and then
remember
we
that,
also
so.
sent-
And there was stuff sitting with all the old water bills, yes, before several times.
The only reason there was people that have been on the water system for a long time, and they ended up being late and almost getting their water cut off. But they've also been long-term members of Union City as a business. And they asked me, they felt like they didn't know the arrangement, or they never did see that we were going to a new system.
So on our commercial, is it the commercial side that they're about to get turned off, or was it their residential?
The whole thing was commercial.
So on our commercial, if they don't pay the bill, how long is it before we turn it off?
They're the same as the others.
So they got an entire month.
They'll get the bill on around the 1st, and then they'll get a cutoff on well, first of all, it's past due on the 15th. They'll get a cutoff around, we try to put them out like 16, 17, 18 in that area. It's cutoff days, that's the 21st. Depending on the holiday, weekends, but 21st. So they would've had a bill two and a half weeks,
So boy, they missed the cutoff notice.
but there was things about that on the other water bills before it switched to.
Can you tell me about District 2?
Street now. Sorry. That's the
It says
grant.
municipal authority.
Is
Is our name on it?
Did you catch it, Municipal?
Yes,
It should
I
be
did,
on
sorry.
Street Alley, it's on the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'll quit
jumped ahead,
looking at
sorry.
yours. Alright. 9A, resolution 2025-10, bulk water and sewer rate increase. Consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of resolution 2025-10, bulk water rate increase of 9% and sewer rate increase of 5%.
That's not correct. It wasn't 9%, it was 1 cent, from 9 to 10 cents, and then the 5% was sewer rate increase, so
We will table it.
yeah, makes
The
more.
resolution's already on the table, but it wasn't, I've only did it for 100. I think
But
the
this is
wording-
not water rate, bulk water increase of 9%, that's not right. That's not what it's, I'm saying,
Yeah. What does the resolution say? Let's up there.
it should go from 9 cents to 10 cents, instead of 9%. Unless that is 9%, but I don't think it is.
I went to $100 with the bulk water, and then I did the
And
9.
5% on sewer is correct, yes.
A 9% increase on 9 cents would be 9.81 cents or rounding to 10 cents.
But it's only one should be 1 cent.
Right, so if you're going from 9 cents to 10 cents, a 9% increase of 9 cents on 9 cents would get it to 10 cents.
But, okay, then it's correct, okay, good, okay. Just worded it that.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, yeah, it's correct.
Sorry, I just,
I'm like, I think you just need to see it as if.
Well, this is what
the
the
other
pennies
one.
on.
All right, well, do I have a motion on nine A?
Well, you actually already proved it, it's just a, how do you do that?
Sign it, resolution.
We all approve me signing
Before
that?
it was just on the agenda, this time it's with a resolution.
You guys discussed it, but
Last one.
Yeah, so,
what you have now is not just discussion, but to approve the
Right.
formal document that will implement it.
So do I have a motion on nine A?
I'll make a motion to approve 9A.
Motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Number 10, municipal authority, no action. 11, municipal authority resources, no action. Municipal authority payroll, no action. Executive session, no action.
well, sorry, I forgot to take Chris's grade off.
Adjournment of executive session, no action. No action. Mayor and trustee reports, anybody got anything interesting?
No.
No? Alright, no action. 15, new business, any new business? No action. Number 16, Ryan Dawson.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion, do I have a second? Chad? Aye. Aye.
Adjournment is at 6:11.
Alright. Where's mine? Alright, number 5, consent agenda items, all matters listed under consent are considered by the Board of Town of Union City Board of Trustees, be routine, will be enacted by one motion, each Board of Trustees member may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. Do I have a motion on 5A, B, C, and D?
I'll make a motion to approve, item 5A through D.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll say.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Number 6, correspondence from citizens. No action. Number 7, financial reports. You know, I really ought to let you read these.
You're the man.
But it's
Right ahead.
information by Union City Treasurer Michelle.
You don't actually have to read the agenda.
I have a quick question. I have a quick question. So, do you have never any, anything from any townspeople? You guys never have any?
Correspondence?
Yeah, they do.
We
Yeah,
do,
they do.
yep. And anyone's welcome to it anytime. They can sign up to speak, or they can submit a letter to us, but we do have, they're not very often, but we do get them.
And every time we do get a letter, we read it out loud.
Yeah, we make sure everyone knows what's been communicated to us, and that includes email and snail mail, both.
All right, number 7, financial reports, is there anything we need to know on the financial report?
Matt, no.
We're gonna change it up. Number 8, Department of Union City Code Enforcement.
That's on my report.
Is that thing right there your report? Good man.
No, not all of it. I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon with the Oklahoma Water Resource Board regarding a cab visit, community assessment visit, basically, to see how we're handling things in the floodplain. I've had no issues whatsoever with my floodplain, so we're gonna look around the community and see if there's anything they can help us with. It's a yearly review.
Ask them if they can keep the creek on the other side of the railroad tracks for us.
Well, they're just gonna give suggestions for us to implement if need be. They normally doesn't have much.
Why not?
River running through here.
The rain first. Right.
Right.
Number 8, water and sewer non-franchise permit. Consideration possible approval of denial amendment revision and acceptance of water sewer non-franchise utility permit with fees to be established by the Board of Trustees, approved by Scott Vaughn and David Jones for utility facility on the town of Union City right of way.
I forwarded that,
This is the internet.
yeah, whichever, any kind of utility.
Internet companies is what we've had approached us.
Okay.
But it could be for any,
Yeah, it could be for any.
that was just a sample, that our engineer drew us.
All right, do we need a motion on that, or what do we need?
Got to my house while here real quick.
I thought we had a lock on that, so nobody can mess with
Hey,
it.
I didn't touch it.
Well, 74.
You know what they say about locks, they just keep honest people honest. Huh, Dave?
Alright, fine. Apologies for that. There's noise. Oh, look at that, right, I'm pulling up on my phone, so I'm pulling up on my computer. Alright, so essentially it would be you setting a fee for utilities that are going to run their lines through the easements or right of ways that you guys have.
Okay.
And whether or not you want to establish a fee, how much that fee would be on an annual basis, it's really one, the pretty standard practice that a lot of people have out there, and then you have to come in and sign or sign a agreement to pay that annual amount. The real question is,
My question is, inside of that, does it adamantly state that if we chop your fiber trying to put in a water line, we are not responsible for it? Because it needs to happen.
so you can try to put that in. The enforceability of it is the problem. Those kinds of release, it's essentially a release of liability. What the courts have held is that those releases are good as to obvious risks. So, for example, when you take the kid to go horseback riding and sign a release, we all know if we take our kids and put them on a horse, there's a risk that the horse comes up and they fall off. What you can't release is future negligence. So if you take your kid to ride a horse and the teenager that got walking the horse around decides to do something stupid, and that's what causes the kid to go off, well, that release isn't gonna relieve them of the liability for that, because you can't relieve future negligence. Right. And so, to the extent that we were putting it in an area where, you've got things that we know we're going to be doing, and you can tell them ahead of time, that'd be one thing. But if it's just, we're doing some routine maintenance, we're digging up a line, and we strike theirs, that lease is gonna be worth the paper it is right now.
So we're just gonna let it come back in.
Well, and the only issue with that, and that's where part of the reason that you have this is, if the more restricted you are, the less services from those outside vendors your constituents get access to.
We have a lot of them already.
And so really, the question is, do you wanna charge a fee for them using those easements? You can.
And is that grandfather existing people that have already have plans, are they to pay those fees or no?
Well, I think that'd be a nice discussion that I would have with them, because what I would recommend that you do is do it on an annual basis. And so you could align it with your fiscal year that, July 1 of every year, you come in, get your renewed permanency within our right of way, and we would be going back to them, telling them that they need to come in and pay a fee in order to use it. Most of my feeling will come in and just pay it. Some of them will try and argue that their line's already in there, and then they'll want to pay it back.
So, what do other towns charge?
Honestly, it's all across the map. What you can't do, I mean, essentially, you got two types of things that you can charge for town. Things that involve your exercise of governmental authority and things that are activities you engage in that you don't have to use government to engage in. And the easy way to illustrate that is when we go and do an inspection, we can charge an inspection fee, but why are we doing the inspection? Because we've got ordinances that we can enforce against your property, so it's related to our governmental function. You provide water, sewer, trash, whatever utility services you might be providing, that's not something that you have to use government to provide. And so you can actually, that's more of what the courts call enterprise activity. The reason I note that distinction, when you're charging a fee for governmental activity, you can't charge a fee that's designed to generate profit. You can charge a fee that's designed to recoup what you anticipate your reasonable expenses would be to do whatever it is that you're doing that you're charging for.
And what's it cost if we bust fiber?
I've never hit one, I was
How much footage do you have to replace?
You know?
And so here.
Our biggest thinking was, I don't know if it matters, was so they have to come get a permit, so we can control where they're putting things, so that way, when we know we got any future water and our sewer up there, whatever we say, don't go here.
To control where they're gonna be putting it, you've got some staff.
More than anything,
Here
that's
to
what they're
do some
doing.
work as part of that, you're gonna have the cost of generating the paperwork. You've got a staff member here who's gonna be doing some work. That's where when we're talking about trying to figure out what the amount would be trying to figure out how much of their time would the normal application take. How much is that time worth, and also considering the cost of the paper, and Oklahoma City's got down to a science. When they redo their rates, they even, I'm told from some folks in their municipal counselor's office, even try to figure out the fractional percentage of the cost of the computer for actually working on it, the electricity,
Administrative costs, loss of use, all of that stuff. I do that for a living.
Chad, can you figure that up for us?
I would love to.
I would love it.
It's usually in the hundreds of dollars, and less if they're more complex. I mean, I imagine for Oklahoma City, because of how large they are and how many different locations they've got to go to, it's gonna be a lot more expensive.
All right.
So it's gonna scale with it. But what you're not trying to do is generate, it's not supposed to be a profit center, it's supposed to be, basic logic behind it is, yeah, the taxpayers can pay for it, or since it's really about an individual company here, they have to foot the bill for what the taxpayers would otherwise be paying for. So the taxpayer money can be used to pay for everything.
I would love to know what it would cost us.
We've never billed them for damage. We've never billed anybody for damaging our property.
No.
Good question. If
Just
we
have
were
to be
to
out there
have-
digging before they ever mark it or something, probably the one to get.
Like they did on 81?
Huh?
Like they did on 81?
Yeah.
Would they be required, I think it's a good idea, would they come before the board and with the plan? Like with the planning
I mean, I
commission,
think
where
it'd
they're going to be, or is this something that I would just strictly work with David? Would like to, or would the board like to be involved in it?
I would like the board to be involved in it, because, I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
they're the NGS nut, you know.
Right, I think it's a good idea.
And then you don't have
Chad,
water and something.
see what you do about getting us a value, what it costs us, and we can go from there. Alright, so we'll just skip over that one and table it. 8B, property violation, consideration of possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, acceptance regarding property violations of 16410 Southwest 59. I have not been by.
It's looking better. I get my son, coming back for a couple of months, so.
Good. Are you satisfied? Okay.
As long as we continue making improvements.
Alright, another 30 days.
Thanks, sir.
I think at the last meeting, didn't we, that we'd be looking for a motion to table this item to the next regular meeting. But you tabled it for the last meeting, this one.
Okay.
Well, it's not
I'll make a
exactly
motion,
30
we give
days.
them another 30 days.
Well, and what I'm recommending.
Second.
We modify it to the next regular meeting.
Does that mean I'm gonna add that to your motion? His modification. All those in favor? Aye. Motion approved. The man's cleaning it up.
Yeah, continue.
It looks way better.
Too much in the favor.
I motioned it, he seconded it. 8C, Riverview Farm Baking Company, consideration and possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, acceptance of installing a refrigerated shipping container at 612 North Main to be used for storage for Riverview Farm Baking Company.
It'd be a 20-foot by, what is that, 8-foot shipping container? I have some pictures if you wanna see what it kinda looks like. To just, allow the girls to have a little more storage and free up the refrigerator for everyday prep.
And they approached me about getting a permit to a second building, because they do not own the property, it's owned by the town. They have to have town approval before I can issue them a permit. The storage placement separated them in here, that they did water department check.
We did talk to Loretta, the neighbor to the south, and she was good with it.
For ease of reference, if this was their property, would you have brought to the board?
I would process the application, yes.
And would it have been approved? If it had been private
Yes,
property?
as long as it meets the minimum requirements as far as setbacks and the use of it, yes. But because they don't own the property, I have separate permission.
So if they prove it's not, it wouldn't be allowing for something that wouldn't be allowed on private property?
It wouldn't be allowed on private?
It would be, you wouldn't have seen.
You wouldn't have to,
it's
if they
owned
owned
by-
that property, it would come before you, it would just come before me. I do that with any rental property.
Just wanna make sure you guys knew that they're not asking for something special,
No,
only they.
it's just because they don't own the property.
They're special because they don't own it.
I need your blessing to
Okay.
proceed.
Do they have to have a permit if it's less than 200 square feet?
Because it would be on the town's property that they're leasing.
Yeah, but if it was a private
It
citizen,
would still require a permit, all structures require a permit.
It just wouldn't be in private school.
Even if they're movable?
The buildings require that as well. Like ordinary.
so every doghouse needs a permit? What's?
Residential or storage,
So you can't store your dog food in the doghouse?
Well, what Teresa was getting at is there's a difference between residentially zoned property and when you have to get a building permit versus commercial property. And this is a commercial enterprise.
So commercial property needs to get a permit if it's less than 200 square feet, but a residential doesn't?
yes, they do,
Residential doesn't?
they both require.
Any size though?
We don't have a minimum square footage anymore, that was taken out of there several years ago. And maybe something that you'd like to work on, to reword again, get it more up to date.
200 square foot, you don't have to have a permit.
Yeah, it's gonna be unique to each municipality because it's a local ordinance issue, and so.
A lot of it has to do to keep you off the setbacks and out of the easement, to make sure you're not on somebody's line. That's the purpose of that.
Anybody have any more questions?
I don't think so.
Make a motion, we approve 8C to allow Riverview Farm Baking to install their shipping container.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Teresa, do you need these?
Should have held out for cinnamon rolls to go around.
Thanks, guys.
Don't ever wait again. Alright, number 9, Department of Union City Police.
Howdy, good to be back, see you guys again, have a report, let me know if you have any questions.
How's the FBI doing?
Great, just good training.
Mama probably glad to see you when you got.
Very much so. Little girl was really excited.
We'll say, sat down with the chief, we're probably gonna bring you some ordinances that modify some of the criminal ordinances, nothing that would make you unique, it's more state laws get updated, and so, you can bring anything into your municipal court that would be a misdemeanor at state law, that would be a local ordinance violation, but there's new statutes that went into effect that we'd be bringing some ordinances to you, to essentially align your code with what the new statutes are.
Like the DUI laws and.
Well, DUIs are the exception where even though the first one's a misdemeanor, they took that jurisdiction away from municipalities that don't have court of records, which basically the Tulsa and Oklahoma City. And so that's one of the exceptions where we can't criminalize DUI at a local level. But generally speaking, if anything that's a misdemeanor, you can adopt your own misdemeanor ordinance
So a DUI is only a felony in Tulsa or Oklahoma City?
No, and what the issue is that it elevates a felony when you've had a conviction in the court of record. Municipalities, of course, not of record, weren't supposed to be allowing the same person to get multiple DUIs in their jurisdiction, but they were, and so you were never getting a conviction in a court of record, and so you keep getting misdemeanor charges, and so that's why as with everything, there's usually somebody's name behind the law that is adopted. Well, there are several municipalities that are the reason that all of us lost deep jurisdiction over DUIs, because they weren't handling them.
So even the small towns, it's still a felony now?
Well, the first one's misdemeanor unless it's aggravated.
We have to file them in district court, we can't prosecute it in municipal court.
Okay.
But like assault and battery, we've got a statute on that. That doesn't mean you could charge it here, you'd have to have an ordinance, because you're not charging a violation of Title 21, you're charging a violation of an ordinance, but you need to have an ordinance. So the one we were talking about today is about marijuana, and they've adopted an amendment to the transporting an open container to include marijuana, and include people smoking marijuana in a moving vehicle. So right now, chief's officers pull somebody right now, and somebody's smoking a joint in the car, they can slide in and they can charge them in district court, but they couldn't charge them in municipal court, even though it's misdemeanor, because we don't have an ordinance on it. Because they just changed the state law, so we're gonna be bringing some ordinances, but I just wanna give you that preview that we're not gonna bring anything that would make it a new crime here that it's not a crime elsewhere, it's just more, it's already a crime at the state level, we just wanna be able to have the discretion to charge it at a local level.
Fair enough. You smoking on the porch and just ask for a friend?
They're probably gonna want to see a card.
For the record, I'm tested normal, I cannot.
It's questions like that that you start to wonder if somebody's still gonna be a friend.
I've been told worse things.
Oh, man. All right, so, looks like we had 124 citations, 132 warnings, which means you have a 48% chance of getting a ticket, and 52% chance of getting a warning. Just FYI. So in your classes, what did you learn is gonna better our town of Union City?
So one of the classes that I took was on, project management and, like organizational change management. So a lot to do with, you know, if we identify something that we need to change or we need to fix, you know, how to effectively manage that and, you know, get with different, people that need to be involved and being able to broaden your approach on who your stakeholders are in those kind of projects.
Nice.
Well, also speak up here, since I do work with chiefs briefly and their general counsel for their association. My experience has been that chiefs that go through the NA or the National Academy becomes a little bit of a brotherhood fraternity type thing where they, he's now one of many chiefs here in the state that are graduates of the NA, and they have their own little gatherings to help each other out and bring different ideas from other departments back to their departments, so.
Nice. All right. Number 10, Department of Union City Fire.
Reports, stats, someone, I hope. I don't know, about 20 emergency calls, 10 medical, 2 grass, 7 motor vehicle accidents, because that little ice storm we had that one morning, nobody did under that. 1 fire alarm. And then I went ahead and we finished up our training for the year and had our annual, Christmas party, and then, talked about for this year's start, this year's training. Did a full year for you on 25 review on the bottom of it, just kind of for your numbers, so.
Nice, thank you. 10A Pafford lease agreement. table it again?
Yeah, he promised to have it here next month. Apparently they got new council and they're working on it, so he said.
10B, ratification of fire chief. Consideration possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of the ratification of fire chief David Jones.
This is in our ordinance that we have to do that every year after the department votes.
Anybody else want the job?
Nobody wants to trust him. Willie gets a few votes every now and then, with some other events. Willie Davis.
I voted with Free Willie, but. All right, do I have a motion on 10B?
I'll make a motion, accept David, ratify David as fire chief again.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, all those in favor? Aye. Congratulations, fire chief. Number 11, Department of UC Emergency Management, no action. Oh, no, there's further correspondence.
Glad that people really have anything to report. Pretty obvious we had a little tornado the other day, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen them make it official. We sent everything to National Weather Service, and they called back and had me go GPS it, so you get with the radar loop and all that, but I don't know if y'all seen it, but, just this side of the Alphaville, that house is pretty, well, the barn around is completely destroyed, and everything's up in the middle, and you can see in the ground where it dug in and through stuff, and then
I have no idea.
the red house, just north of 152 on Alphaville, on the, west side, that newer barn dominium house, it actually lifted the roof off it, set it back down and screwed it up. Horses, right across the street from it, it took out a little shed, and about 150 yards out in the field, it took red iron, just twisted it. And then, 59th and Radio, that big horse barn, big nice barn, it took the end of it off and messed it up, and then the last thing I found was 44th and Banner, that big barn, it took the end of it off, well, messed it up real bad.
Yeah.
So it almost a perfectly northeast side.
Any damage at the Gilpin residence?
It wasn't damaged, but it took an old ceramic frog off the porch and moved it 40 feet, flipped it upside down.
I bet it went north, didn't it? I can say that it's sucking as it went.
It just sucked it off the
Yeah.
porch.
Oh, we
We
don't.
had a huge tree down out of Kansas.
Really?
And it was over the driveway, they had to go, I mean, it was huge old,
Okay.
and it was all torn up.
Twisted up.
The fire department's, county's meteorologist said it was definitely a twister, but he's still waiting on that one. It's not a big deal, but there is damage.
It did take the, there at the house north of us, it took the barn, the shed, not the barn, but the roof off of that shed.
All right. Move on. Number 12, Department of City Animal Control.
Reports attached to that. We adopted out 3 dogs, transferred 2 to rescue organizations, returned 2 to owners, and 1 had to be euthanized due to aggressiveness. So that's not the reason for that.
No cat?
Okay. Yeah, oh, well, this month, not last month, but I've had 1 since, yeah.
Saw any of these ones out front here yet?
This fast as cat.
Alright, we already did 12? Animal Control? Yes.
Yeah, 12A.
Alright. Ordinance 12A, ordinance 369, vicious dog, consideration and possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, or acceptance of ordinance 369 to establish a procedure for determining vicious dog, to include who carries the authority to make the determination of a vicious dog.
Alright, so the ordinance amends one existing ordinance and then adopts a new one and then remembers. So the ordinance actually to make room. The amendment is simply to the definition of a vicious dog, and it doesn't change the definition. What it does is add in language in your ordinances, the only defined terms that you have as a vicious dog, but elsewhere in the code, you refer to dangerous dogs or potentially dangerous dogs, and then you treat them all the same. And so the only amendment is to say that when we refer to a dangerous dog or a potentially dangerous dog, we're talking about vicious dog. So essentially that those two terms mean the same thing as vicious. That way we remove any ambiguity about, well, what's a dangerous dog versus a vicious dog. And if you wanted to have different consequences depending on, and define those differently, then you could, but since we treat them all the same, there isn't any reason to add separate definitions for them. The meat of it is we move existing ordinances at 512, or 5612, 5613, to now 5613, 5614, to make room for an ordinance that would be the process for determining if a dog is a vicious dog. As we talked about last month, your ordinance has quite a few consequences if a dog has been deemed to be vicious. But they have nothing in them that says who deems whether or not a dog is vicious. So the whole lot of words, because I'm an attorney, to get to the end result, which is it gets to the judge.
Okay.
There'll be a screening, we'll have people fill out a form, it's a voluntary statement, I contemplated that there be a form, or that they can use a voluntary statement as provided by the Union City PD. The way I see it playing out in practice is they get a call about a dog bite, they take a voluntary statement from them, they forward it over to animal control, who sends me a copy. My only role would be, yes, it meets, if this were all true, this meets the criteria of vicious dog, or no, it doesn't.
Okay.
No matter what I say, if I say it doesn't, they can supplement it, I can tell them, you know, you haven't said anything about this, so they can supplement it, and, because they're not, most people aren't gonna be lawyers, they're not gonna know exactly what needs to be said in it, but to require me to tell them what's missing from it, and then they have to be able to truthfully say, they can fill in the blank, or that they couldn't. Either way, if I say it doesn't meet it, they can ask that it still go to the judge, and then the judge is essentially hearing an appeal of me denying it. If I prove it, then it still goes to the judge. We send out summonses to the dog owner, so that they get notice and an opportunity to appear in court. Judge hears testimony, and at the conclusion of it, the judge either determines that it's a vicious dog, or it doesn't. If he determines it's vicious, then they have to comply with the code, and until they comply, they're gonna have to find a place for the dog. Once they can show compliance, they can bring the dog back in.
What is compliant with code?
Code has, up here, if a dog has been deemed to be vicious or potentially dangerous, the term we haven't defined, then within 10 days moving to the town, they have to comply with leashing and muzzling. They have to comply with confinement requirements of the kennel on property. They have to confine the dog indoors when it's, keep it confined inside their house when it's not outside the kennel or on a leash. They have to have signage on their property. They have to have insurance for the dog. They have to give us photographs of the dog for identification purposes. They have to, if the dog has a litter, report the litter to us. If they sell or transfer ownership of the dog, there's certain requirements there. Another one about breeding the dangerous dog, and what has to happen within 10 weeks of the birth of its offspring. They have to register it with the town. And then it's a crime if it has been deemed to be dangerous and they don't comply with these, but they still have the dog in town, then it's a crime that can be charged with municipal court. So we had all these requirements, none of that's being added tonight, that's already there. We just had requirements that we had no way to enforce because we had no way to deem if the dog was dangerous. So moving two ordinances, just changing the numbers, make room for this ordinance, and then a tweak of the definition of vicious to make sure clear that when we say dangerous or potentially dangerous, it's all one concept, vicious.
Do I have a motion on 12A? Make a motion to approve 12A on ordinance 369. I'll second it. Motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion approved.
I will be, later this week, since, as I said last month, we're not creating anything new, this was already a law in the city, we're just in that process, so in my opinion, this is still the issue that brought this to your attention, and I can still get in front of the judge. I'll be going back through now formally to review what they submitted to us, and we'll let them know if it satisfies the requirement or what they need to supplement it, so we can get that.
Thank you.
Is this the old, ordinance in here?
I don't see anything on that ordinance that it's assigned.
That's the new one.
So it's 1 to 5, and there's pages 1, 3, and 5.
Second paper.
C2 and 4. I've got it pulled up here, just to make sure. It must have just been a printing issue where it only printed the odd number pages, the packet, but I assure you there is a 2 and a 4, and page 4 is where the signatures are.
Thank you for working on that.
All right, number 13, Department of Union City Streets and Alleys.
There's a report for you on that, and a page attached. This is what the grant deal she was talking about earlier, but taking place Center Street and Alley. So, not the grant that we just approved to get, the one 2 years ago, or whatever it was, when y'all did the, division in Choctaw.
Yeah.
The city got a $500,000 grant, you remember? Yeah. And the deal was, it was back when David was here, David,
County was paying it.
right, paid everything, you know, that we didn't pay, and we got a bill here the other day, it's on the back if you got it there, from ODOT for $65,565, saying that some of that part wasn't covered, the way the grant was submitted to the county. So we got the deal, because then we got the grant. So, I know, Tammy, we did forward all this, this is more for information, there's nothing to work on yet, because they may just have to do it, but, we sent it to county, Secretary and Lacey, so, just wanted y'all to know about it. So
So
technically, we do
what
have
was
it.
wrong that they,
It says on there, something about, I thought there was another page, Tammy, but it said something that wasn't covered, like engineering maybe, or something,
Engineering, and then there was in-kind, so Canadian County District 2 had
in-kind donation, or something.
in-kind, from county, and they did not accept that either. So there was I have the document.
What's weird, especially Mark, is they accepted it all, gave us the check, and then 2 years later come back and said, oh, we shouldn't have paid that. I've never seen that with a grant ever. So Lacey's gonna check on it first, but if it comes back to us, that's when we're gonna bring it to you, to you. May just be something she can get fixed, I don't know, but this is more for information, that we just got it, not doing.
Was it a reimbursement, or did they get?
Yeah, so we got the grant, the total road project was like $700-something thousand, something like that. And it was 2-mile section of brand new asphalt, and, the county came to us and asked us, hey, we offer out for this grant, and you get up to $500,000, so we did that and got the grant. But they said, we'll definitely pay the rest. In other words, it won't be out any money to the city.
Right.
And
The
then,
city to get the check, the money. And
we got the check, when it was finished, all paperwork, because I remember, check came here, she wrote me another one, I took it straight to the county and handed it to them. You know, we deposited it and then wrote them one out, and then that was the end of it until this month, last month.
How much was the grant?
$500,000.
And how much are they saying they think they?
565. Yeah, but the woman at the grant place too said something about, that maybe she could work on something too or something. Tammy talked to them, I haven't, so.
so what I'm seeing here was the city, so whenever that deal was done, if I'm reading it correctly, to obtain that grant, the city had to pay X amount, and we got the grant, and the county would cover what the city was gonna pay, the match.
Right, yeah, so that way the city would be outside.
So if you look at this, it says this is the awarded funds $500,000, less 75% of project cost, which is $434,434.36, on who did math on that. Amount of overpayment $65,000. So I'm assuming the county's never sent in their portion?
I don't know, the check came here for exactly $500,000, I can tell you that, because I remember opening up for a while. And, then we turned around and wrote them one, figured out to them, same day.
Okay.
Just so they had their money.
Right, so on the invoices, there was invoices that were highlighted, so I had to call Mary and figure out why they were highlighted. She said that was the ones that they had used for the project. They had totaled the whole supplies that were on there for this project was not true. So I had to go back and total each one, and I sent it over to Mary. Mary checked it, she's going through the things, because she's like, I don't know if that's right, so we're trying to figure that out, but I made sure that I have sent over that $65,000 on an invoice to Canadian County District 2 until they figure out and give me back the invoices for this, to retabulate it.
I'm sure you can see that.
But what this is telling me is we gave you up to this amount and it was cheaper than what,
Right, that's
if
true.
obviously you didn't need all the money and you can't, you don't get grant funds for covered items and you didn't have the covered items, so what about that?
Possibly.
That's exactly what happened.
And so it's either going to be that there weren't, the project was cheaper, or they just didn't get the paperwork that's needed to show and justify that all that $65,000 was spent
Correct.
on.
But they will now.
Yes.
But it's my way of thinking, and I'd have to dig back through to see if the agreement was formalized, but if they agreed to cover the overage, and we gave them the money, they need to return the money. So, one way or another, we'll figure it out, but.
It's just preliminary right now.
Glad we picked one.
What a great one.
I had about 4 days worth of ditch work out there. I can get y'all an invoice if y'all need to bump that number up a little bit.
After they were
It
done?
worked like that.
One of the other thing is, your guess is good as mine on the 152, so.
Yeah.
It ain't good weather, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's wintertime, especially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if they hadn't, they'd be way further than that. Moving out.
Number 14, Department of City Clerk.
You have my report. Auditors is usually a question. Talk to them.
Weren't they saying next month last time?
I got a call from their office stating that, she double booked herself and she's at another location. But it comes on the heels of me refusing to pay an invoice for them because they charged us late fees and interest and said that our payment went to the wrong location. So it wasn't on time, so I sent them proof that it was on time. It's gone to the same address every time and no problem. They called me today and said that, they got my packet that I sent them with all the proof and they are reversing everything and they will charge us the correct amount instead of all the late fees and stuff. But now, after that phone call, they confirmed with me that they would do field work on the 15th. They advised me to move to 23-24, that Kim determined that 22-23 is good, and that they're trying to make it on the February meeting. So, really, I think it was held up simply because I refused to pay that invoice until they got it worked out.
Fair enough. All right, any other questions for town clerk? No? All right. Number 15, Department of Human Resources.
Nothing to report there.
Number 15A, Resolution 2026-1, discrimination and harassment. Consideration possible approval, denial, amendment, revision, etc. to the Resolution 2026-1 that addresses non-discrimination and anti-harassment policies.
Give you each individually a memo, a confidential memo this month, identifying just certain policies that I felt we need to address and either update or tweak. Decided to start with the rip and replace ones first. This is the first of two. Your existing policies, you're governed by state and federal law when it comes to discrimination, harassment, retaliation. Your existing policy only covered sexual harassment. There are many other forms of harassment that are unlawful under both state and federal law that we're not addressing in your policy. So rather than give you a massive document that had a whole bunch of redlining on it that essentially changed the whole thing, this is just a rip and replace. We're going to yank out the existing sections for you and insert this one. It is started with a standard form that I helped draft when I was at OMAC, and then tried to customize it to the town. The only thing, customization I want to call your attention to is you always need a way to bypass your typical chain of command. Normally you report issues to your direct supervisor and then up the chain. When it comes to discrimination and harassment, you have to have what's called a supervisor bypass, because in theory, and hate to use you, chief, as an example, but if one of the chief's officers had a complaint against chief, does it make a lot of sense for them to bring the complaint to chief? Well, no, that's the alleged bad actor, so there needs to be a bypass. So I've made the mayor the bypass with the vice mayor as a backup bypass in case the mayor is somebody that's the one. So you gotta have some way for them to get it, reported to the town as an entity. So, that is one of those things where I wanna call your attention to who is the person that's the bypass. Well, it's gonna be the mayor, unless the mayor is one to complain on, then it would be the vice mayor.
I make a motion that we approve 15A. Do I have a second?
I'll second that as well.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Alright. 15B, resolution 2026-2, drug and alcohol testing.
Rip and replace number 2, the drug and alcohol testing is governed by state law for all employers, the Oklahoma Guaranteed Workplace Drug and Alcohol Testing Act. But for public employers, even though you're still the government, even though you're acting as an employer, so the Constitution still applies, which means the Fourth Amendment applies. A drug test is a search under the Fourth Amendment. The standards are just a little bit different when you're acting as a governmental employer as opposed to a governmental law enforcement. There was a lot that needed to be updated. State law has been updated several times since I think your policy was last amended. So rather than go through again and do a whole bunch of redlining, decide the best approach might be a rip and replace. Took the policy I helped draft as a model policy at OMAG that we made available to all of our cities and towns. Pulled that one, customized it to the town. One of the things that I customized is, frankly, for the scale of your operation, at a larger operation, if we went up the street to El Reno, it's more reasonable to expect that they would have 2 people who had some training on spotting reasonable suspicion that somebody might be under the influence. In smaller towns, that's not always practical to have 2 people that would have that kind of training, so I modified that language to where it's, if we have to and they're available, then we want them both to look at the employee. But if all we've got is one that's available, then that'll be sufficient. And then they'll be reporting if we do send somebody for testing, and it'll be reported out, so it's not some secret, like, the mayor would get a notice that we send an employee for drug testing, and they'll be notified if there was a positive result, then it becomes an employment issue at that point.
I'll make a motion on 15B. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one as well.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
These will be the 2 biggest ones. I'll be bringing more to you, not to bring them all at once, I didn't want to overwhelm you with them, but I'll be bringing those when we go to the.
No, ripping that way we're going right now, I'd turn and burn, I just
That's
bring them all.
Hey, if you want me to bring them all, I can bring them all. I just didn't want it to be that much.
We'll go through all of them again until we're just tired, and then we're right next week, we're table the rest.
So I should put the really controversial ones at the end.
Yeah. Department of UC payroll.
Okay, so this is gonna be our first year of Paycom doing the W-2s. It's gone smoothly, everything's been checked off. W-2s will be available to all employees through their portal, so it's to them, and they'll be able to get it online, and it will be available, I believe, January 30th.
Awesome.
So it did go smoothly, and they are all understanding, except for Tammy.
That's the reason they got the big buildings, and they know what they're doing.
So,
Yeah.
we have to take on, and we have to select, do we want it electronically, or do we want it mailed? They do all of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to
And
make
they-
defaulted for electronic.
And they can go in, but they know that when they signed up on their portal, they went through all of it.
Number 17, Department of Union City Deputy Court Clerk.
Nothing to report. I don't know why it says this or,
So what about this report you reported?
ask her.
Yeah, so there's supposed to be something on here for you?
No, oh, well, no,
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 Okay.
no.
I'll just in here and I'll just like,
she just wants to be pretty.
okay.
Let her be pretty.
All right, number 18, no action. 18A, no action. 18B, no action. Number 19, Mayor and Trustee reports. I would like to reiterate, anyone that wants to purchase a piece of property must go through Miss Camera Gates. Just make sure it's out there. We will not do it on the side, we will not do it in the car, we're trying in a box with a box, no, I mean, just call the realtor.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, she's not married, she's just one.
Alright, so that was my report, it's just, use the realtor. Update regarding recent and upcoming events, Martin Luther King Day, Town Hall will be closed. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to rant on from the events? You look like you got something, Ryan. Alright,
I'm fresh out.
any new business?
Ms. Cammergat?
Ms. Cameron Gatz.
Yes, sir. Alright, well, I planned on having one offer for you today, but I ended up having two offers. So these would be on the, we put the 10 acres as residential, and then we did 2.5 acres for commercial. So I have two offers for the residential side of it for you. There's one, I said two copies, so you guys can look at it, I'll take it back. So I have, this is for the 10 acres residential. I have one from, it was another agent presented, it is wanting to be a single family residence for the full 10 acres. They have offered $130,000 for it. We have it listed for $125,000. And then they have a pre-approval, it is with a conventional loan. The second offer is a cash offer for $125,000. It is, through a client that I'm representing, which is Brian Liberton with Phil Hagan. And they are wanting to purchase to develop. Stipulations on theirs is they are wanting to pull the whole thing out of a flood zone. Phil Hagan he used to work for Craft and Toll, the big planning architecture firm, he knows how to do it. So they're gonna go in and do the surveys, so they're needing a little bit more time on due diligence to do the floodplain, reroute the water. They're already, from the floodplain, bring it up, and they will subdivide into.
But once again, we're in a spot where they can just walk away from it.
Do what?
I said, once again, we're in a spot where they can make an offer, this is what we're doing, and they can walk away from it later?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes.
Anybody can, if they.
Yeah, anybody
earn
can.
money.
Yeah. They are an opportunity, they know, I did explain to the higher offer that there are no water, no utilities to it, that they would have to bring water in from, A1 off the main. I don't think that they know the cost on that. It just came to light very quickly this afternoon, whereas the others have this experience.
And so this one, they're just wanting to build a house?
Yes, just a single family residence.
Oh, how long are the offers good for?
I need to double check on the segment, but I was literally printing it as I was walking out. But I told them to give them a few days.
1/19/2026.
And then the other one, get right out there, that's one, 16. Yeah, 16.
So will they be able to, now, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, like they're saying 1/16, so will they be able to find out the information that they're wanting before that 1/16 comes? Because that's only in a couple of days.
So that's your response time to the offer, to accept or deny the offer.
And what's their response time if we say we're gonna do it before we get our money?
So on the subdivision there, we're looking at, just because of the time frame, they asked for 90 days to go in and figure out all of the logistics, not do all their due diligence. The other one, we would be subject to an appraisal because it is going through a loan and it's subject to requirements from a bank. The other one is cash.
My suggestion would be, since you don't have on the agenda, this is information that came up after the agenda deadline.
Yeah.
But you still have, you're within a time to call for a special meeting, that you consider a special meeting for later this week. Figure out when everybody, when you could at least get a majority here, but perfectly all fine. The only question then would be whether or not you wanna do everything in open session, you can have discussion in executive session. This is actually one of the changes to the Open Meeting Act we got in this year, as of November first. It used to be you could only go into executive session when you were purchasing property, but they've now amended it to go into have discussions about the sale of property. But that would alleviate my concern, which would be, we're trying to vote on it tonight, it's something that's not on your agenda, admittedly for a reason.
Right.
But it's not you have to make a decision, and you can't wait 48 hours, which is your deadline. You have to be 48 hours from a date, time, location of a special meeting. You can call a special meeting and still make a decision within the time frame. It also gives each of you some time to think about it. You've got different monetary amounts with different goals for what they would use the property for, so it would also give each of you some time to think about it.
The offer for 125, which is the developer, did they say if they bring everything up out of, flood zone, how many houses they would be able to put there, and what their goal would be there?
Ultimately, their goal, they would like to do 1 acre to 1.5 acre tracts.
And to do that, they would have to take our portion, our 2 acres out of the flood zone also, right?
It would very, I mean, if they take that out, it's very, I mean, that's gonna raise, yeah. You're bang on.
Which ours isn't in flood zone, but
Yeah, not
I
all
would
of
assume
it.
they would have to raise it also to get theirs out.
They can't
If
cause,
they're moving
they
the
can't
water.
cause water to dump on you,
Yeah,
it'll have to be engineered,
yeah.
just for something.
And you also have to think about that person that's wanting to do the one on the 10 acre. You also have to potentially think, how long is it? I mean, you just have to think forward. Are they always gonna be here? You just have to put that in the back of your mind. Are they always gonna be here? And then if they possibly sell that, what?
They did ask, on the single family residence purchase, how long they have to build. So that would be,
But how long they might stay?
well, no, like how long it,
No, I just meant in the back of your mind, what, like if they end up selling later, with that other 10 acres where they put that, what they sell it off?
By the acre, by the lot, or what?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm following.
By the acre, by the lot, what you gonna do with that area? Just
All
in the back
right,
of
what
your
do y'all
mind.
Thursday evening look like?
Dave, if you would sound like,
All right, 6 o'clock Thursday, special meeting.
6 o'clock Thursday, special meeting.
All right. Number 21, Brian.
I make a motion to adjourn this
Would
meeting.
anyone like to second that? Keith Dennis, second.
Thursday.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye, motion approved.
Meeting adjourned 7:08.